On Hulu, I caught The Man with the Golden Gun. As a Bond movie, this might be underrated. I know back in the day there weren't many Bond films that were given less than 3 stars in the old TV Guide rating. This was one of them. But you know what? It's got one of the better Bond villains. Christopher Lee Scaramanga as the Man with the Golden Gun. This hitman you can hire for $1 million. So he acts as kind of like a Bond dark side version. He feels like he's the same as Bond. They're both contract killers. He just makes more money. And Bond finds out that let's see, how did this, I'm trying to remember the like action bit to start this movie. Oh right, Scaramanga's on his island chilling with Maud Adams, and this guy shows up and they're going to duel. They go in this little fun house, they have a duel. Scaramanga gets a drop on him, in part because he knows the layout better, Jesus. And then he's like, you know what, next I'm going after James Bond. He's got all these like famous killers in his little diorama. And there's a James Bond wax figure, he shoots the fingers off, and then you got your Man with the Golden Gun. Yeah, a pretty decent theme song, it's upbeat. I'm okay with it, Lulu. So we have this happen. James Bond goes, we check in with James Bond in London. He has in the mail to him, I guess, sent to him anyways, is this golden bullet with 007 on it, as though someone's gunning for him. And he's like, well, who'd put a contract on me? And M's like, jealous husbands. All right. And then we have Bond has to try to figure out, and remember, I watch a whole bunch of these, I'm trying to recall it all at once, without notes. Bond heads to, I think, Beirut, where in 1969, a 00 was killed, they believe, by Scaramanga. He talks to this belly dancer he thinks was with him when he died. She talks about how this bullet went through him, and it's like her lucky charm. She uses it in her navel, and Bond ends up accidentally swallowing this while putting the moves on her. And some guys get the drop on Bond, and so he's like choke fighting them, and he swallowed this golden bullet that he wants analyzed by Q branch. He gets in this taxi and he's like, nearest pharmacy. I'm wondering how they got that out of him at a pharmacy, or do we not want to know? Heads over to Q. He's like, blah blah, whatever, this bullet, something. Here's some possible people who could have made it. He heads elsewhere, think Hong Kong. He's like, hey, I'm looking for this guy who makes eccentric guns. He finds him. He's making this gun for a guy with missing fingers. Bond aims it at him. He starts talking, says some girl picks up the golden bullets. Gives a little bit of an idea of who Bond needs to track, and it's Maud Adams. She looks a lot prettier here than she does in Octopussy. You know, a good deal younger for that matter, but you understand. And quite a bit different looking, actually. I think her like defined cheekbones really come in Octopussy. I'll get to that. Bond follows her around, starts roughing her up some, slaps her around and shit. It's like something Sean Connery would do. And Roger Moore is not like into high comedy in this mode. Like, he starts out, in his earlier Bond films, the first half of the set, it's not like he's trying to prove that he has comedy chops. It's a different beast. And he's got her slapped around. She says, hey, you need to go to this bottoms up club in Hong Kong. So Roger Moore, James Bond, he waits outside. He's waiting for this possible Scaramanga guy. They don't know what he looks like. They know he has a third nipple. That's his defining feature. And this little guy comes by, and that kind of gets James Bond's attention. Like, why is this guy watching me? Then all of a sudden, this guy gets shot. And James Bond thought that the shot was supposed to go to him, but it's actually this older dude. And this Asian guy is out there with him, and he's like Hong Kong police or something, I forgot. He's one of the agents, and he's like, okay, James Bond, detaining you, but the secret is that we're getting you away from the crime scene, and we're going to get you to MI6's makeshift HQ for this mission, which is in the downed Queen Elizabeth. It's in the Hong Kong harbor. Kind of a cool set where this boat is sideways, and they try to build everything on an even plane, and it kind of counteracts the way the boat's designed. It's pretty cool. But at this point, they're like, okay, so this guy who got murdered instead of Bond, what's that about? Well, he had this solar device. I forget, Solex Agitator, I think. And they said, oh, it's got this power to work the, what did they say this was? It was like solar energy facility. So James Bond has to go get this device back. But in order for this to work out for him, he's going to have to go through the man with the golden gun. He now has to babysit this agent, Goodnight, who's just kind of bumbling around. And I see a lot of people think of her as one of the lower points to this, because she's not terribly helpful. And then you've got James Bond keeping an eye on her. The bad guys are after him, but now he has to go to like I think Thailand and deal with this whole scenario where this guy, High Fat, has this electronics firm, I suppose. He's in the energy business, and he hired the man with the golden gun. Bond doesn't think that they've met, so he goes and tries to disguise himself as Scaramanga, the man with the golden gun there. But Scaramanga has the drop on him. They make James Bond do some karate fighting. I think karate is actually South Korean, so, Americans, getting the multicultural stuff wrong here in this Bond film. However, we do end up seeing some kickboxing. Alright, those dogs didn't like me. And the kickboxing stuff goes down. James Bond is meeting up with Maud Adams, who's revealed that she sent the golden gun, or the golden bullet, to Bond. Not to kill Bond, but to send a message, hey, I want you to kill Scaramanga. I think that's actually a pretty cool plot idea right there, goddammit. It's like, here's a guy, it's not necessarily a world at your feet supervillain, but he is a worthy opponent of Bond, a mirror image, evil one, I'll bet, and we have his disgruntled girlfriend. But she gets taken out. So she's been killed, and she has the Solex Agitator on her, but they can't find it. Scaramanga's sitting there, and he's telling Bond all his backstory. It's an evil-ass backstory, I shit you not, man. He says, growing up, my only friend was this bull elephant. It went crazy one day, went on a rampage. He caught up with it, rode on its back, and the guy shot it in the head, emptying his revolver into him. So then he got a gun and killed the guy. And that's when he realized he didn't love animals, he loved killing people. It's like, Jesus. This is like the coldest Bond stuff until maybe the early Brosnan era, or possibly the Daniel Craig era. So, yeah, it's straight up cold stuff. Well, Bond has to then chase after Scaramanga because his idiot assistant Goodnight, he had found the Solex Agitator on the ground, passed it off to the cop guy who was helping him. He gave it to Goodnight, and she got kidnapped in a car. Well, interesting enough, and I missed a few things here. The cop buddy, how useful is he? He hatched a plan earlier to get Bond, to rescue Bond when he had to fight karate. Brought his his karate nieces with him. They pick him up in a car, and then they kind of like shut the door for he can get in and drive off. It's like, what a dick. And that made Bond get into a boat chase. While he's on the boat chase, he meets our old buddy J.W. Pepper. Well, he sees that Bond's in town. Well, now, for no damn reason, J.W. Pepper's testing. He's like going to test drive an AMC Hornet at a car dealer in Thailand. What's he going to do? Bring that back to Louisiana? They're on vacation. Can you see him vacationing in Thailand? I can't. Well, anyways, Bond hops in this car to try to get in this chase to catch up with Goodnight Scaramanga and Knick-Knack, the little guy. And they lose the car, but in order to try to catch up with them who are on this other side of this river, they make this jump that is entirely improbable but very cool. It's a spiral jump. Not only does the car spiral in the air, it does a barrel roll, it lands sideways with the interconnecting corkscrew of the ramp. It's really quite cool. Oh, but people want to laugh it off, say, oh, the slide whistle. People want to get mad about that sound effect. I thought it was in this time, it's like you can have fun in a movie, for Christ's sake. It was kind of a fun moment. It wasn't overly corny. I didn't really feel like it was that big of an offense. And maybe because they thought that wasn't a big deal, they went and did more of that type of stuff later in Moore's films. So, catches up with the car, but it transforms into a plane. Yeah, they put wings on it. It's in this hangar, takes off. Goodnight, Solex Agitator, Knick-Knack, Scaramanga go to Scaramanga's island. Now, here's where the movie kind of falls apart in the plot. James Bond gets a plane, heads over to the island. There's a homing device on Goodnight, which they said was there. That's okay. But he's got this like elaborate facility on his island, powering it up through solar power, okay? So, his island was powered before this Solex Agitator was in his possession. But it's the key ingredient to getting this facility running, which he already has. That's like making a nuclear reactor before knowing about uranium. Putting the cart before the horse, for sure. It doesn't add up. Well, Bond and him get in a duel, they go into the fun house. But Bond sees the Bond likeness in there. He was kind of tipped off to it earlier. And he poses as the likeness, and that allows him to get the drop on Scaramanga, shoot him. It works out. And then Goodnight hooks up with Bond, and Knick-Knack attacks him, and they kind of leave him on this boat where they're escaping from the facility. I mean, Goodnight is weak, annoying, mildly helpful to the plot because she has a tracking device on her. There might be bigger offenses in Bond. The plot's both cool and silly, but the bad guy's very strong. I really can't hate this movie any more than anybody else would say, but I give The Man with the Golden Gun 2.5 out of 4 stars.